Ken, good to see you today. Thank you for coming. Just have a little introductory slide right there on the screen with the NinjaTrader platform in the background. We'll get started here right on time. Got a few more minutes here. Uh-oh. All right. Looks like now the YouTube folks are live with us. I think the Facebook folks are going to follow. Terrence says AV is 5x5. Awesome. Thank you very much for that. Tova, good morning from Seattle. Good morning, Seattle from Bellingham. Alex is flat MES right now. Griffin, good morning. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Starting to get a little chilly here in Charlotte. Walked the dog this morning at about 6 o'clock. It was 46 degrees out, which I guess by Chicago standards is not bad given the fact that we're in November. Griffin's going nowhere fast. Yeah, we're going to have some kind of slow inertia is my guess because of the up and coming presser, Jeremy Powell on the podium, 2:30. Polly, good morning. Thanks for being here. Ken says 31 in Michigan. That's brutal. I mean, I'm used to it. I mean, I was in Chicago for 57 years, 58 years, 58 years, give or take a few years where I was in Indianapolis, but set that aside for a second. So, all right, let's be exact, 55 out of 58 years in Chicago. So I shouldn't, when I see 31 now, I'm like, wow, that's a bummer. But, that was my life. Now it's like, I'm spoiled. 46. The dog loved it though. This is dog weather, man. If you have a dog, take that dog out. Especially if they got a little bit of shag to them. Moshi cannot see our chart. That's because we have the NinjaTrader introductory slide. I'm going high tech today. I have this introductory slide up here. And I will move it. You will be able to see the chart momentarily, but there's nothing cooking on my charts just yet. Rick, good morning. Thanks for being here. All right, it's 10 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started here. My name is Jim Cagnina, Senior Education and Training Specialist for the NinjaTrader platform. Today's event, trade setups in the E-mini S&P 500 market. We'll probably take a peek at a couple other markets also as we go. I do want to remind everybody trading futures options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility, and although that's an equation for opportunity, which I believe is why we're all here, it's also an equation for risk. So be careful, only fund your futures trading account with risk capital. Everybody's unique and different in this world, so there might not be a cookie cutter formula for risk capital. My personal definition of money I could afford to lose doesn't change my lifestyle, lengthen my retirement horizon, or overly anger Mrs. Cags. That third part is a little tongue in cheek, but not really. Stress in life matters. When we're under stress, we tend to make bad decisions. At least I do, and I've made a lot of them. So that's just kind of my third criteria. So keep easy on the day trade margins there. We're logged into a real-time simulated live trading account with real-time data on the NinjaTrader charts and trading platform. Tove has a mini schnauzer. Herbert's sitting on his hands today. Well, I mean, it's a Fed day, right? I mean, yesterday I made a huge mistake yesterday. Yeah, yesterday I went against the trend, and I decided that we're going to have some kind of reversion back to the points of control from the day before, and then the day before that, right? So I was looking at that, and look what happened. The Monday, boom, we rallied. The point of control went way higher. So there was a mistake on my part, and in looking back on it, it was there's a lot of external factors going on in the market right now. Yeah, Fed Day is important, especially this particular event, because remember in June, the Fed started talking about tapering and planted the idea in everybody's head that we're gonna be tapering by about 15 billion for starting in November. Well, we're in November now, And you know, are we going to be more dovish? Or are we going to pull back from that idea or not? And of course, I lost my cheat sheet somewhere in this process. Oops, that's not it. Let me pull up my cheat sheet here. Hopefully, I didn't delete it. That would be a buzzkill. Oopsie, move this over here. Oh, here it is. All right, shoot that over here real fast. So, you know, we were talking about the Fed, right? So is this tapering 15 billion per month going to start or not? Right, you know, when's the clock? When are we going here? When it start or not? We have, you know, almost $8.6 trillion the Fed has created out of nothing by basically buying securities and mortgage-backed securities, right, and government securities. So the million-dollar question is, this can't sustain itself forever. Eventually, too much money in the system is going to cause, you know, crazy inflation like, you know, we're seeing right now. As a matter of fact, I read this line today. Oreo cookies and Ritz crackers are going to be 7% more expensive tomorrow. What? All right, we got to do something about that, especially the Oreo cookies. But in any event, you know, we have competing forces here on this inflation side. I mean, maybe it's temporary because of supply chain issues. Maybe it's not, or transient or transitory, whatever they're calling it. But remember, you know, Chairman Powell is going to be as dovish as possible if he does, in fact, want to be reappointed as chairman of the board of governors. He might not want to be. I mean, I wouldn't want to be for sure, but you know, maybe he does want to be reappointed, so he's got to be, you know, a little bit more dovish on the whole deal here, and maybe things, you know, will be pushed back. Maybe it'll be punted a little bit, and we'll wait for the next cycle, the next Fed meeting. I don't know, but that's kind of on the tip of my brain right now. Now, even if he isn't reappointed, he's still going to be on the board of governors if he wants to until 2028. Other things in the news, MBA mortgage applications are showing a tick down. That's interesting to me. ADP was, you know, pretty strong. The employment report pretty strong. About at least 130,000 of these 571,000 estimate was small businesses, which is also a pretty good sign, I think. And then lastly, you know, Treasury refunding announcement came out today. I don't know what the answer was with that. I didn't follow through with it. I didn't have time. But, you know, this is the announcement. It includes, you know, what securities are going to be offered and the dates of their auctions for the next few months. And is it going to be a wash? In other words, are we going to just issue more debt and taper at the same time, and the total supply of securities is the same? I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, those are my notes for this morning. Taking a look here on the ES. It looks like we have a dominant candle brewing right now at the you know, 10 o'clock to 10:10 candle. It's 10:05 right now. So it's interesting. We'll kind of wait to see what happens here on the next candle. See if we could find an area of support. But again, I'm going to go with the trend today. I made the mistake yesterday in not doing that. Griffin called me out on it, which is his job. So Griffin says my short at 20 idea looks good now, but it was so ugly at the time I couldn't pull the trigger. And that's kind of the dilemma we had yesterday, right? And you know, that's the dilemma we had yesterday. Randall misses Florida because of the weather. I don't blame you. Florida's great in the winter. We got a lot of Florida fans here today. Going stock up today. Let's take a look at a daily chart here just to kind of do a reality check. ES, you know, look at the trend. The trend is positive. CCI is right at 100, kind of stabilizing a little bit. And, you know, this is definitely, you know, we could draw trend lines here if we really wanted to, or rays, or all sorts, or arrow lines, or horizontal lines, or vertical lines. But, you know, I'm just going to draw, you know, just, this is not scientific, but I mean, we're in a bull mode right now, and the question is how long it's going to last, and can, you know, actually, can the Fed kind of navigate the dance that they did last time? You know, if you remember a couple of years ago when they tried to tick up interest rates and keep the equity markets in check, and they did a good job of doing that. So I'm not sure that they can't do a good job. Politics is going to play a role here, whether we go with Laurel or Bosnick as the next Fed chair, or Powell stays in charge. Any event, so that's it. I mean, in a nutshell, we could actually look at the NASI too. Let's look at the NASI while we're here. The same story. I mean, this is just, you know, this is just super, 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 super strong. NASDAQ is just in bull market mode, no doubt about it. So again, any given Sunday, things could change on an instant. We're trying to make new lows on the day here on the ES. Let's see what happens after on the next bar. This is the 10 to 10 bar, right? So 10 o'clock, this bar started, 10:10, this bar ended. And let's see what happens here on this. Really nice volume profile, though. I mean, it's a beautiful volume profile. Look at, Griffin's long at 14, stop at 12. He's got it. He's in tight. He's in tight, but I like it. I mean, it's you know, he's picking the bottom, trying to pick the bottom right now. We'll see if it works for him. My fingers are crossed for you, my friend. But that volume profile, it's like it's a perfect distribution. It's a perfect Gaussian distribution, bell-shaped curve. I love it. Let's see if we can get back up to the point of control. I'm rooting for that right particular second because Griffin is long at 12. We'll see what happens here. See what happens here. You know, we're going to have another candle in literally a minute and a half here. So let's just be patient. Let's take a deep breath. You know, the Fibonacci line right now is going to be kind of wonky, right? And what I would do for Fib, I would go to this high, not this high. I would go to the early morning high, to the recent low, and let's give this while we're kind of saying a prayer for Griffin. I'm going to just throw that Fib line up there. I'm going to throw that Fib line up there. Point of control just north of 38.2%. Yesterday's close, this dotted purple line up here, still a little bit short of that, about 8 handles or so, 8.5 handles or so. Griffin's trying to train the range. His target is 19. Okay, that's right at that 50% retracement level. Let me just kind of mark that right there. Right there. Nice wick is forming here. New bar, right? We have a new bar now. Let's kind of see what happens with this bar as we get ready to draw an infamous rectangle. Just going to get it on here for now. We're gonna tweak it in a second, and I'm going to make it a little more aesthetic. I should probably save this as a template, and we could do that pretty easily. I learned that trick the hard way. You just click on this little template thing down here, and you can hit save. And then we'll call it, you know, Cags Rec. How about that? Well, we can even save it as a default. I'll save it as a default. Applying OK. But in any event, if you didn't want to save it as a default with the NinjaTrader software, it's really easy just to save it as, you know, whatever you'd like. Now, on the flip side of this thing, let's just do the same thing. We're going to copy paste. I don't expect much price action today. Because of the anticipation of 2 o'clock Eastern time today. So, you know, that philosophy was not true yesterday. And again, I wrote that in my notepad in my my trading notes, and the mistake that, you know, the assumption was a bad one on my part, and we paid the price, right? So right now, again, my rectangle area support still is not developed yet. I'm going to kind of keep that a little bit dynamic here. After this next candle, we'll just make a determination if, you know, hey, should we try to go long or not? And I'm not quite there yet in my mind, but I'm getting close. I'm getting close. I want to see this area hold out a little bit longer. Remember, we're looking for one trade idea within the 60-minute period we're together. That's why I'm using a 10-minute chart. I have the histogram bar there in the CCI. Morgan, if you're here, thank you for that tip on the tricks, the triple exponential oscillator. I'm going to take a look at that. Yeah, I really appreciate that. And that's the great thing about these events. You know, they're free. Come when you want, leave when you want. But you know, I got an email from Morgan last night and said, "Hey Jim, try the tricks, TRIX, on a 10-minute with these settings, and he gave me his settings. He gave me a screenshot of the settings, and so this isn't an oscillator that I would typically be interested in, but it's worth a peek. So I'm gonna experiment with it a little bit. I appreciate that. Any kind of feedback like that's really awesome. Good morning to one and all, especially my Astros friends. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say, but I'm a Southerner now, so Atlanta's my thing. Atlanta's right next door, so I had to root for them. I'm not going to root for the Sox or the Cubs. The Sox got their butt kicked. All right, so now we have this is kind of a good progression here we have on our actual trade idea. Hopefully, Griffin, you're still in this thing. And again, now I feel a little bit better trying to get long, maybe down at the bottom of the value area right here, or maybe at the 23.6%. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have my chart trader on. Let's just open it up to make sure I have my account set. I do. All is good. Let's hide it. Let's get back here and get that trade idea in the can. Why is this not working for me? Here we go. There we go. I'm just going to move this up a little bit to tweak it. There we go. Right above, one tick above the 23.6. We'll just be patient and see what happens. And I like the fact that we kind of finally established a area of support down here with my rectangle. There's some big wicks here, so you got to be. It's a little dangerous. You really need. You're going to have to give yourself a wide breath here from a stop loss point of view. I'm going to go ahead and put this in at the bottom of my rectangle. It'll be a sell stop. All right, that's 2 out of the 3 legs of the trade idea. Let's see what happens here. We're back to the point of control. Griffin's target is still 19. My fingers are still crossed. Stop to break even, which means he moved to stop back to 14. Oh, I see. Oh boy. All right. Busy. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Whether you're late or not, it's okay. We were just talking about my Atlanta Braves. Some good baseball if you're a baseball fan. If you're out of the US, you could probably stream it on Hulu. I don't know if you get Hulu in the UK. I'm sure you get Hulu in the UK. It's got to be a thing, right? I don't know. I haven't been to the UK in many years. All right, so we're getting close for getting our fill in right now. We'll see what happens here. Bottom of the value area is that dotted line right there. Dot. We're right there. All right, so there we go. We're in the game right now. Let's see if the rectangle is truly an area of support. I might have said area resistance before. My bad. Area support. Now, the other thing we got to keep in mind is where would we place a profit target? And I like Griffin's 19, but I would be more aggressive because these wicks up here I think they need to be challenged. Even the 61.8 area needs to be challenged a little bit. So I'd go up a little bit higher and maybe try to get the 20s. And then the anatomy of the trade is going to look like this. Let me pull this over here right now. So 1575 is the position. Stop is 46.12. Target 46.20. Let's see what happens here in the next, I don't know, couple of candles. E.L. Larry, good morning, everybody. L. Larry, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Rick, the answer is no, absolutely not. Rick asks, was I a Braves fan when I lived in Chicago? No, but I'm loyal to my area. And this is my final stand here. My last hurrah is North Carolina. So this is my, it's literally, Atlanta's maybe 4-hour car ride from where I'm at. And unfortunately, there's not a Major League Baseball team in North Carolina. There's a really good minor league baseball team. It's actually the White Sox farm team. It's called the Knights. Me and Mrs. Keggs went to a night game and it was awesome fun. Kim, hey guys, says hi guys. Remember, I'm going to call you Kim because I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Kimasabi. I'm gonna go for it. Kimasabi, thanks for being here. Kim, we're long at 46.15 3/4, kind of going sideways here, waiting to see what in fact happens here. The candle that we're looking at right now has a really big, let's zoom in on it a little bit and talk about it while we're here. We could talk about these candles a little bit more. I mean, reading a candlestick is hugely important as you go forward here. And I'm going to kind of just in my simple way explain what I see. I mean, for instance, this is a doji, this candle right here. Shoot, what's the time frame on that? I don't know. I'm going to say the 930 to 940 candle. It was a doji, right? We rallied up, rallied down, and then the body of the candles is really small or almost negligible. Market uncertainty for sure. Then next candle we had buyers come in, but we couldn't sustain it. Next candle we did kind of have buyers come in, but we ended up settling back down close to our doji level. And then finally we had a meaningful red candle pop back in right there at the 10 to 1010 candle right there. And now we're kind of just fighting sideways. We'll see what happens here on that. These candle wicks are relatively big to the body, but if you think about it, let me just go into let's go back to candles. The high, this is only a 4 handle high to low, right? The high was 20 1/4, the low was 16 1/4. That's only 4 points, right? So again, these candles are smaller than we're used to seeing usually, and that's not surprising considering we're, it's Fed day and we're all in eager anticipation of what's going to happen. Kimasabi gives me the power muscle thumbs up, suggesting I said his name right or her name right. I'm not going to assume him or her because of the biceps. I'm going to go with it. He's in Atlanta too. Ah, sweet. I like it. That's good. That's good. We're neighbors, kind of. All right. So, one of the things we're in patience mode right now, and this is, when we have these kind of calm, stable markets, that's the hardest part, right? The hardest part is patience. And you're just looking at the top of this candle, one could say, well, we could have got out. It's 17 and a half, and then we could have got back in again. That would be true. But then, you'd be more aggressive trader. You'd be trading more. And you would probably be looking at a 2, 3, 5 minute time frame instead of a 10-minute time frame. But one of the things I don't like to see, and I've been in this seat for decades, literally, right? I've been sitting in this chair for decades, literally, and over trading is a thing, right? And you might not even realize you're doing it, and so just be careful with that. It's good for the brokers because they get more commissions, and it's good for the exchanges, they get more exchange fees. But it might not be good for us, right? For you guys, and just kind of be patient, pick your spots. Don't be too overly aggressive if you could avoid it. Get your stick going, muscle memory. Griffith points out correctly. For anyone that is interested, this is what we call chop. Not a bad day to go to the beach. It's never a bad day to go to the beach, Griffin. But you're right. It is kind of a little choppy. We're just up a tick, down a tick, up a tick, down a tick, that kind of thing. Busy says long at 15 3/4 in the MES. Okay, on NinjaTrader 8, love it. Let's see where we're at here with my crossers. 15 and so you're right here. You're with me. All right, so you're exactly all right. Just be careful. Don't do exactly what I do. I mean, as you would have witnessed yesterday, it would have ended in tragedy. So I'm not always, it's the lesson is it doesn't matter how long you're doing it, you're going to take your lumps sometimes. In any event, and we're down a handle right now. That's about $50 per contract. You can see up in the NinjaTrader control panel here. This isn't useful information. My unrealized P&L is 50, right? This moves around as the price of the market moves around, right? This is saying, hey, if you get out at the latest market price, here's what your P&L would be. Flipping all the way over here to intraday margins. This is telling me, hey, Jim, you're using $500 of your intraday margin, and you still have an excess of $19,836. This is in sim account number 2. right? And then my initial margin, you can see, is huge, right? The CME is like, hey, you need to have 12,650 bucks in your account to carry this position over. In this particular case, I would be able to do that, right? Because my excess initial margin column is telling me it's positive and we're good. I don't have a negative initial margin balance in there. It's positive. So really you could rely on this on the NinjaTrader software to kind of see where you're at with respect to intraday margining. And I mean, if you're approaching 50% of your cash value on your on your intraday, take a look at yourself in the mirror. That's a lot of leverage. And so use it gingerly and wisely for sure. Herbert says, what happened to you yesterday will or have happened to all of us, right? And in the theory, my theory was, we experimented with the theory and, unfortunately it didn't work out for us. But today we're back to the basics right now. Bull market, looking for places to buy, looking for that CCI to get up to 0 or at least cross minus 100, looking for the moving average cross to start to stabilize, identifying some areas of support and resistance. And that's kind of where we're at right now in conjunction with where is the value area. I want to be back in that value area. I want to be back to that point of control. Maybe then at that point, I could even move my stop up higher, maybe to break even plus a tick. If the trade's taking too long to percolate. In any event, that's what I'm thinking right now. All right, so now we're getting some trade lift up here now, which is good. Let's see if we could hit that point of control, that magical point of control, which on a normal distribution day, guys, a lot of times, and let's analyze that actually. We can analyze that. Point of control right now is that golden line. How many times is it traded there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the 12th candle that's traded at that level, 1750. So it's a powerful thing, and it tells you, where buyers and sellers over a course of a long period of time are agreeing that there's value. They're agreeing that there's price happiness there. And it's not always like that. Some days are trend days. Some days are wildly volatile. Some days are double distribution days. But on a day like today, I like it. So we'll see. We're not out of the woods yet. Let's keep rocking and rolling upward here. So Larry asks a great question. Is it smart to double positions if it gets deeper into the rectangle? And I don't, my answer is it depends. So certainly if this was a micro E-mini S&P, I would have no hesitation doing it, right? Because my relative risk profile is less. But maybe I have a larger size account. And I would say yes, but I would say it's okay. But I would look at the candle wicks, the shadows at the bottom. We see a higher low, and I want to see another higher low. If we see another low, a lower low, that I'm going to start to worry. So my second entry in this particular case, if I'm probably not an advocate to do it in this setup, but would probably be right at the bottom. Oops, sorry. Right. Let me just throw it in there to show you what I'm talking about. Oops. Would be probably right one tick above that lower, that particular bottom of that candle right there. Again, once we start making lower lows, then I'm going to start getting worried, right? So I mean, that's what I'm thinking right now, but not right now. Not right now. Now, if this was a NASDAQ chart, things are wildly different because of the size of the candles and the size of the wicks that we see routinely on those. So, and it begs the question, you to cost average in is a strategy, right? To average into a position is dollar cost average or whatever you want to call it is a strategy. But you know, you're like Griffin's saying, you're going to increase your risk profile on that. So, you know, why not just go long 2 contracts from the get-go? If you think this was such a great, if I think that was such a great trade entry, and that's right. I mean, that's another way to look at it. But I wouldn't, and let's take a look at the micro Nasdaq. Maybe we'll have the opportunity to do that. Exactly what you're saying right there. So just really kind of peeking here at this particular, let me just kind of, let's see if we can see a multi-target strategy here. I'm going to go to Fibonacci. We're going to go this high. Shoot, let me get my crosshairs out. We're going to go this high to that low. Simple as that. Keep it right there. So in this particular case, you could come up with a strategy ahead of time and say, hey, all right, so I want to buy at the bottom of the value area. I want to buy at the 23.6. And then I want to see a test down to this low wick right here, and I want to put another order in there. So I mean, that's a strategy, and I did it real quickly, but that's a strategy that somebody could come up with, and then say, all right, if we get down to 30s, I'm out. I'm going to do my sell stop here. 3 lot, make it up, bump it up to a 3 lot. And that's kind of premeditated, right? I thought about it ahead of time. I put it in. I'm using areas of interest, the bottom of the value area, 23.6%. And I want to see this wick, this long wick kind of attacked, challenged, because a lot of times these long wicks are challenged. So let's leave it in there, see what happens. All right, so now we got one of the units right now. And so I guess my answer to your question, Larry, in a long roundabout rambling way, which is so often my style, is you know, if you do it if you have that strategy ahead of time, you know, don't oh shoot, I didn't want to do that either. Shoot. All right. You know, don't do it after the fact, like, you know, now it's taken so long. I'm thinking maybe I'm going to add another one. You know, don't make it an afterthought, I think is what I'm trying to say. Rick, the volume profile, the way I have it set, each histogram bar here is 1 tick, and it's tracking volume. Oops, that was too big of a squeeze up there. Sorry, guys. It's tracking volume since the open last night. So these numbers are going to be moving around. It's tracking it since the session open, and you could make it different if you want. You could say, I just want to do volume profile based on the cash open if you want, or from midnight when Eurex opened up, or whatever you want. And you could even just pick an area. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could just right click and then go to drawing tools and pick order flow volume profile. And I could say, hey, I just want to see what the distribution looked like from here to here. And then it'll paint it on that way too. So you have a lot of flexibility in how you apply it when you start and when you end it. That doesn't make sense for me, so I'm going to delete it, but you could do that for sure. Okay, so where are we at here? All right, we're getting back up to that 19. Let's see if we could drive back up to that 19. You know, one strategy at this point too, it's only 10:30 though, so I don't know if I'm going to advocate this just yet because it's kind of early, is again, moving the stop to break even and then doing kind of what Griffin suggested and see if you can get a pop up to that 61.8%. But right now I'm going to take the conservative slow approach. Again, we have a higher low now, which is sweet. Just kind of going back to our micro Nasdaq trade, you know, it's still a CCI is still minus 120. Moving average cross is still ugly. And so really the whole premise of this trade is getting back to the point of control up here. We do have a unit in, so we do want to consider, you know, maybe one profit target. And I am going to put it up at the point of control right now, just to get it in there. And that's what this, so far, because we have one unit, right? See that little green indicates one, and that's where we're at right now. Just for a second. Okay. Phew. Uh-oh. Daniel Fernandez, that's the day you run the homebrew through and still one more time. So a double distribution day. Oh my goodness. So let me just kind of show you. Well, it's going to be hard to show you today, but imagine this profile having two different nodes. This is node 1, and maybe it had a different, a lower node 2. So think of it, two sideways triangles with the valley in between. That would be a double distribution. This is a single distribution, if that's your question. I'm losing track of my question and answers. Uh-oh, Busy says scalp day, chop day is scalp day. Uh-oh. Busy is second entry at 14.5 also, actually. All righty then. We're at 18 right now. Someone had a magic number 19. Was that you, Griffin? So again, as the trade matures, we can start thinking in terms of dynamic, trade management. Still pretty early though. It's 10:33. We have a lot of time here. And while we're at it, I'm just going to toggle over the dome to the MNQ so we could see where's our positions down here at 955. And that's what we're trading right now. Our target's probably pretty high up here. Yeah, 75 and a quarter. So we'll just kind of let that go on the side here. And we can see our P&L move here on the micro NASDAQ in the Superdome, NinjaTrader Superdome. And then we could see the ES on the left-hand side. So we could be nimble if we have to be. Oh my goodness. And oftentimes you do, there's different formations. And to use our lingo, I mean, there's a P formation, right? Where the distribution's at the top, point of control is at the top, a big bulk of data is at the top, and then less and less volume on the way down. That's a P. And there's a B shape, which is the double distribution I'm referring to, or there's the D shape where the distribution's at the bottom, and then there's less volume profile at the top. So, and we'll identify those, going forward every day and see what's going on here. Alberto says we need such a community for Latin America in Spanish. I wish, Alberto, I wish I was able. I really do. It's one of the regrets of my long life is not knowing a second language, and probably should be Spanish, maybe Italian. I don't know, only because being the fake Italian that I am, and the fact that we love going there. That's and they're close, right? Italian and Spanish close, kind of similar. But I hear you, Alberto. I hear you. The more the merrier, though. I mean, if you could kind of follow along on the chart, tell your friends, get them in here, translate for them. You could be the official, Alberto, you could be the official translator of the E-mini S&P trade setup events. Rick, the answer to that is negative. Futures only. Griffin said, I would think of taking profits here only because it tested 18 several times. At least I'd move my stop to break even. Yeah, we're getting close to that point, but we'll let's be a little bit more patient here. Uh-oh. Mackerson's jumping in with the, so Mackerson, he's on Facebook, so Alberto can't see your comments, unfortunately. There's not a cross-platform integration going on right here. Ottawan, how do I set up my screen like yours? Well, let me just okay, so that's a great question. Let me just show you what I got on here. This is just a 10-minute candle, right? E-mini S&P ES December 2021 contract, 10-minute candle. And then let me just show you my indicators, right? I'm going to put my indicators on there, and I'll show you which ones I have. So if indicator-wise, I have CCI, which is this. Let me pull it over here so we could see what the CCI is. So it's this oscillator right here with the histogram bars. that are going up and down instead of sideways. I have order flow volume profile, which is this volume profile picture right here. I have two moving averages. I have a slow moving average at 26 period. I have a fast moving average at 6 period. Those are overlaid down at the bottom here in my third panel. Then I have prior open, high, low, close on here. And you can see this dotted purple line is yesterday's close. This dotted green line is yesterday's high. Some order got filled. We're going to have to check that out in a second. I'll leave that up there before I check anything out. Just leave that there before I check anything out. Griffin says, I could barely speak English. After living in South Florida for 6 years and wintering here for 10, I could almost order 2 beers in Spanish. I swear I'm not just cut out for languages. Dos cervezas, por favor. I could even say that much. And I don't have the experience that you have. Mackerson says 23.6 hit. Okay, let's kind of see what happened there. MNQ. All right, so now we got two. All right, we got two now we have our 3 units here. Okay, so this is a good example of cost averaging in. We have 3 units right now. Average price 940, 949 and 3/4. Our stop is, I don't know, a good 5 handles below the low, and we're going to hang tight, see what happens here. This is looking, that's a pretty decent sized red candle. This is not looking good. You know, we're penetrating. If you think where the rectangle would have been, I didn't put it on here right now, but if you think where the rectangle would have been, we're penetrating into it right now. We haven't closed into it yet, so not all hope is lost. But let me just show you where the rectangle was. And there we are. So areas, you know, let's see, is this going to be an area of support? Is it going to hold or not? We did get our 3 units here, and now we got to think about what do we want the other targets to be, right? How aggressive or how non-aggressive do we want to be? Well, do we want to get one of the units here if we're lucky enough and just kind of look at yesterday's close? Is that a reasonable place? Is it above 38 reasonable? Is above 50 reasonable? I don't know. So, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, because it's a micro, I could be more aggressive, right? So I'm going to move this up. I'm going to look at where the meat of the volume profile kind of, and this is kind of like a double distribution, by the way, whoever asked that question. Kind of here's a competing point of control here. Here's the real point of control here. Here's where the meat starts right above the 50%. So that's where we'd probably do a second unit, right? And a third unit we're going to hold off on. I want to see if we could make some new highs here for now. All right, so that's where we're at right now. So things are looking good there. Our rectangle held, even though I drew it after the fact, but I did, you know, the way I drew it is I wanted to capture the previous candle's bottom of the body. When I draw these areas, it's like, where's the bottom of the bodies? I want to be below the bottom of the bodies, area of support. And I want to extend it past the lowest wick, right? I want to extend it past the lowest wick. And then I've kind of visualized this area, you know, might be fake, it might be real, but I kind of visualized it. And that's kind of what I'm thinking here. Rick says, just order with Google Translate. Rick, I speak both Italian and Spanish. I believe it's an easy job to learn one if you already speak the other one. Yeah, I'm back in Griffin's boat. I could barely speak English. Look at the volatility in the NASI though. You gotta be careful. I mean, you have some volatility here. I mean, these wicks are wicked. Let me just kind of, you know, that wick right there, high to low, you know, that's 49. Let's just call it 27.5 points. That's a big candle. Let's go to the previous one. High to low. That's 20 handles, 20 points. Let's go to the previous one. High to low. That's 25 points. Let's go to this really ugly dominant candle here. I mean, I hate to call it ugly. It's mom or dad wouldn't be happy with that characterization, but 40 handles. So, you know, these are big candles, right? These are big high to lows. So you have to adjust accordingly. And I think that's why so many people like the micro NASDAQ instead of the big one, because you could really get in trouble on the big one. You know, we have 337,000 contracts, really slow volume day across the board, 305,000 in the ES, really slow volume day across the board. And that's not surprising. We're waiting for the big guy to get to the podium at 2:30. You know, even 30-year treasury bonds are like unchanged, one tick. You know, it's there. That's in anticipation, anticipatory non-action, anticipatory, you know, slow kind of draw. Lee, good morning. Thank you for being here. Mackerson, appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Tell your friends, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button on YouTube, hit that like button. Tell your friends, tell your people, your neighbors, your relatives, your in-laws even. I'll treat them well, I promise. You know, your enemies, I'll make them your friends. Let's do this. The more the merrier, man. Yeah, so I hear you. The micro is kind of it's volatile. It's a tough market to trade for sure. I mean, look at this wick. Oh my goodness gracious! You know, high to low. What is that? 54 points. Yeesh. Anyway, you got to give yourself some breathing room. That's why our stop is so far south here. We got another 17 handles before we get stopped out, and that's kind of the I don't know. Let's shoot over the ES. We've kind of neglected that. I don't know what's going on there anymore. But we're holding our own on the ES, and you know, another strategy is, hey, if we're overly, instead of moving a stop here to break even, I would be more inclined to move it to the point of control. So it would look like this. Move it up here. So maybe you could, have a little bit of success on the trade, and at the same time, let nature take its course if you want. We're only 4 ticks away from getting there. Just shoot over the ES on the trading ladder. So my stop's kind of tight. If you look, you can see it better on the trading ladder here. Stop's only 5 ticks away. Profit target's 6 ticks away, right in the middle there. But I feel good about what we just did. Right, we just kind of using that point of control, knowing that it's most likely going to trade there again for sure. We're kind of taking a little, rolling the dice a little bit to say, hey, hopefully we'll get a little bit of trade lift up here to that 20 level before it trades there again. We have, a series of higher lows, higher low, higher low, higher low. That's a good thing. And our trade, and our stop is below the low of the contemporary candle. So I think this would be prudent. I think it's prudent. I'm going to write this down. I'm going to write the word prudent down on my notepad. I might use it more. Lake LBJ is great. Are we talking about Austin, Texas? I heard we have a traffic problem, a significant traffic problem in Austin, Texas. Just saying. I don't want to, poke a hole in anybody's balloon. Okay, so Terrence, when you want to look at the data on a candle, you move your mouse onto the candle, your crosshairs of your mouse, and then use the roller, the middle mouse button or the roller on your mouse. There's like either a roller or a middle mouse button usually on your mouse, and then click it, hold it down, it'll show it. Yeah, your right click won't do it. You got to do the center mouse button. Holding our own at 18 and a half, quarter bid at 50, quarter bid at 50 right now in the ES. See if we can get 50 bid up, even at 25, 3/4 at even. Getting close to making a lower low on that wick. Even bid at 25. 90 miles east of Austin. Gotcha. Terrence, did that work? Give me a thumbs up if it did. 3/4 bid at even. It's kind of, this is the most brutal part of the whole thing, right? It's like you're right there, you're almost there, not quite getting it there, biting your fingernails. Maybe not. Maybe not. I am though. Quarter bit and a half. Really, really, really want to see that that fib level hit. That fib, we're actually a tick above it. Well, we're actually right above it. I mean, the fib level here, the way I drew my fib was not scientifically perfect. So we're right at it, 61.8%. I'm going to say it out loud. We're right at it. Charles, high volume, we would have easily double the volume at this point in the day on a high volume day, if not more. You know, when the ES is tracking less than 1 million, that's kind of ho-hum in my mind. The silver lining is the micro Nasdaq just gets bigger and bigger every day. This is just getting more and more, more and more volume to it every day, which is a great thing to see. All right, even bid at a quarter bid at 50. So we got a 50 bid at 3/4. Going once, twice. Charles, good morning. Oh, you're the one who just asked the question. Sorry, I'm toggling back and forth between two Q&A boxes here. You know, one tick away, right? So half bid at 3/4. You know, if you can't take it anymore, move your limit order down 1 tick. I'm gonna hang tight though. All right, so we did it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cancel the stop. Don't forget, don't leave that dangling here. If you want to do an automated trade strategy with the ATM, you could do that as well, so that these things are OCOs, order cancels other. But you don't have to. That's a whole nother trade management idea. I like to be kind of. I like the ability to kind of get in and out. Let's pivot over to the NinjaTrader right now, MES. See if there's anything we need to do with that particular trade. Nope, we're all good here right now. I would suggest here, I want to see one unit get peeled off before we start moving our stop to break even. That's kind of my thought process right now. Because again, that point of control, even though we have somewhat of a double distribution, is looking pretty attractive to me, this point right here. And if we think about it, this was yesterday's close. NASDAQ's been making new highs on a regular basis. Yesterday's point of control is actually south of where we are now. It's kind of interesting. 954. Let's think about that a little bit out loud. You know, what's our expectation here? So we got 1 more minute. Let's see what the next candle brings us. Look at the wicks though on this. This is wicked. Wicked wicks. Look how big they are. Buyers coming in, buyers coming in, buyers coming in, buyers coming in. But then you could say the same thing on the top. Sellers coming in, sellers coming in, sellers coming in. You know, as volume accumulates, we could easily get a new point of control any minute here up around this area. It's a real easy thing to visualize right now. Is this peak here? Let me just get my crosshairs out. We'll kind of span the field a little bit. Crosshairs out right there. That point, that area right there, 960. You know, right in here, these volumes, or these histogram bars are growing as we trade, and we'll see if it could overcome that point of control, which might change my whole attitude. I don't know. I have a good attitude today. Reggie, my thing is, I don't know. I mean, I think the MES and the ES are competing for my interest these days. So the ES and the MES are competing for my interest, not the MNQ, MNQ, the micro NAS, and then the classic ES. You know, those are, I don't know if I have a preference, one or the other. I think there's two different trading methodologies that go through my brain when I'm looking at one versus the other. You know, again, the micro NAS is good to scale in and be patient and give yourself a wide breadth from a stop loss point of view. Is kind of how I look at that. The ES is plenty dangerous. You know, $50 a point per contract kind of thing. And it tends to chart better, in my opinion, because these wicks aren't so crazy. With the new accumulation of volume, though, I think it might be prudent actually to move this target down to 50%. 50%. So we'll just do that here. Let's see what we get. We still have lower highs though. Lower high, lower high, lower high on these candles. Let me just kind of show you what I mean by that. Lower high, lower high, lower high. I want to start seeing higher highs. Otherwise, you know, time to move the stop to break even. And actually, we're almost there right now. So I'm going to stick around for one more candle. We'll see what happens here, and then make a decision on stop versus waiting it out for the rest of the day. Point control is 1553 on a 5-minute. Reggie J trades, gives a thumbs up, like it. Wicked Wicks of the West, absolutely. All right, so Busy, this is an interesting comment while we're waiting here. Busy says, this trade on MES was my one and done. I'm still building confidence in trade management and strategy. So I hear you. I think that's good. I think I'm assuming this was in a live account, and you know, I'm in the sim mode, so it's a lot easier for me, right? But if in a live account, confidence building is equally as important as muscle memory in getting the flows, ebbs and flows of these markets down, especially if we ever do get into some kind of regular volume and regular volatility days going forward here. You know, I expect once this whole infrastructure and reconciliation nonsense is over in DC and the Fed says what it's going to say, then maybe we can get some more regular days, regular days. And again, you could kind of generate more of that muscle memory thing. Busy, good to hear. So thumbs up on that. Griffin said, if he wasn't heading to, are you talking about the yes, Griffin? Let's just toggle back over there while we're waiting. Go fast. We got 6 more minutes. If I wasn't heading to lunch, I'd be short at 20 with the stop at 21 and 22. So basically short at the, you know, where the top of the value area intersects with the 61.8%. I like that. The stop, you drive me crazy with your stops because they're so tight, but okay, you know, 22 would be reasonable. I mean, it's, you know, actually my rectangle needs to be adjusted upward now to right there. I guess it's still reasonable. 22 stop is still reasonable, but I hear you. Lunch is way more important for sure. Unless you're going to go buy an expensive lunch, in which case you should think about going short. I'm kidding. I'm just joking. So you just kind of recap, and you know, this is a really nice normal distribution in the volume profile. I do expect us to trade. I mean, I could be totally wrong, so don't just, you know, quote me on that. Well, you could quote me on this because this is my opinion, but you know, 46.18. I don't think we've seen the last of it today. I don't. Let's just shoot over here. And I do want to remind everybody while we're waiting for this next candle, you know, trading futures options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. A lot of volatility, a lot of leverage. Even if you're not using day trade margins, you still get a lot of leverage. So be careful. Easy with the day trade margins, and risk capital only. Any questions on risk or any of that stuff, type it in. Be happy to talk to you about it. Oh, that was a noise. Someone just sent me some. In any event, let's wait 6 more minutes for another candle here, 5 more minutes for another candle here. And I'll give you my last thoughts on trade management for this particular trade idea. I see moving my stop to break even in the future here. Although we do have a higher high. We missed our target by, I don't know, a little bit, a couple handles here. That's okay. I'm not going to be bullied. Although this is not looking good. I do not like to look at this candle here. Previous candle was doji-like. Previous candle was doji-like right here. Body is the open and close of this body is either the exact same price or nearly the exact same price to qualify as a doji. And now we got this pretty big wick here at the top. So not looking good for the trade idea. But I want to wait for another bar before I do anything. 4 more minutes, another bar. I'm not freaked out. Griffin's thoughts are, if the market puts in a new high, I don't want anything to do with a short, is my thought. Yeah, I hear you. And then also, though, we have this weird wild card at 2 o'clock today with the Fed announcement, and then 2:30 with Jerome Powell's explanation of things. Yeah, BNZBB trading. I appreciate your nice comment. Yeah, we started this show on Monday mornings with Bazinga. I think episode 3 or 4 is next Monday. We're getting better at it. It's a 30-minute segment, so it's not really enough time to actually do a lot of live trades. And there's a hard cutoff date in 30 minutes. Whereas here, I could keep going until someone at NinjaTrader turns the power off. Isabella, don't turn the power off on me, please. But so I have flexibility in going as long as I want here, at least until the next event, which is actually in an hour from now. It's we're going to talk about trade indicators in an hour from now if you want to come back. But that's a 30-minute thing. It's a lot of fun. My co-host on that is Spencer Israel over there at Bazinga. The dude is great. I love his questions and point of view and everything. So I'm going to give him a thumbs up. Oof. There was a lot to go on, but thank you for that plug. I appreciate that. Tell your people, tell your friends, neighbors, countrymen. Let's get that translation going, Alberto. Let's get your guys in here. All right, so 2 more minutes. We're going to wrap it up here. Let's see what this next candle brings us. Now, remember, it's 11 o'clock candle. So we might get some velocity on the hour marks, 8, 9, 10, 11, 2. You get some unusual price action, especially in the micros, because you have, algos kicking in. You at the hour mark, you have the hour candles are closing, the 30-minute candles are closing, the 15-minute candles are closing, the 10-minute candles are closing, the 5-minute candles are closing. And this is generating data for traders, right? All of these bars that are closing are generating data for traders that react to it, whether or not it's the reaction is based on an algo trade or a trading system or manually trading, whatever it is. All of these kind of things kind of kick in, maybe more, in my experience anyway, my opinion, at the hourly mark. So we'll see one last time here. Tamar, yes. Go to NinjaTrader's website. At the very bottom, there's a link to the NinjaTrader YouTube channel. And on the YouTube channel, you'll be able to find videos and live stream videos that are archived there as well. Kamasabi, thank you. Appreciate you being here. Rick, thank you for being here. New candle right here. All right, so I think we're good. Again, I'm inclined to, it's going to be a little bit tough because I'm going to move this stop up, but let me just show you something before I do. I'll put my crosshairs back up there, and we're just below the low of this particular previous candle. So it's probably more risky. It's probably very, very possible that we're going to get stopped out here. But at this point in my 60-minute trade duration idea, I would kind of move that stop up there to, a tick or so above my entry price, and then kind of dynamically manage that. If we do get this target, then kind of change the stop from 3 to 2, and then hopefully you're off to the races. But this is looking tight right now. All right, guys. Awesome. Thank you, NinjaTrader, for cutting and pasting that in to the chat boxes. Appreciate that. Any last second questions? Terrence, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you in an hour. If not, tomorrow we'll be back at it. And tomorrow is Wednesday or Thursday? What is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday, probably. We're going to be back at it anyway. I'm just going to read Griffin's comment one last time before we actually close it up. When I put on a trade, I know exactly what I want to see. If I don't see it, I'm done. I seldom wait to be proven wrong. No idea if it's right or not, but that's how I've traded for years. Okay, so that's an approach. Losing 2 or 3 points, not pints. You don't want to lose pints. That would be bad. 2 or 3 points or 4 times has to be better than losing 8 points once or not. I hear you. Good strategy, good philosophy. Appreciate you guys. Take care. And remember, be safe out there and take care of each other. Talk to you soon.